In this video, I'm going to show you the best trendline trading strategy. I currently have a sale running on my Trading Academy. You can get full instant access to my course, community, and members area. In this group, I've helped students achieve over $2,310,000 in funding in the past 5 or 6 months alone. Over 500 students have been through, and if you want to check out some reviews, here are some, and you can head over to my Trustpilot as well. If you do want to join, head over to the link in the description and you can sign up there. And most importantly, I hope you enjoy this video and I hope I can provide you with some great value. Hello and welcome to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to trade trend lines effectively and show you the best trendline trading strategy. Now, if you are a regular viewer of my videos, you'll probably be a little bit confused because you'll know by now that I don't use trend lines in the traditional sense. But what I wanted to do in this video was show you how you can use trend lines to get a more logical view of the markets. And if you are currently a trendline trader, how you can switch up your use to get better results and a better understanding of what the market is doing. So heading over to the chart here, let's take a look at the DXY. Now what I've done here is mark on a high and a low. So this is our trend line, right? We have the one tap, two tap, and then the push down. Now what most people see here is a trend line break. Obviously, if you are trading basic retail patterns, you'll see a trendline break as a bullish sign. So what you may see here is, okay, the trend line is broken, and that tells me that the trend has now shifted from down to up. What we would then do is place our buys on, and then look to buy, towards the high there, for example. So this is how a lot of people would approach a trendline trade. However, I approach it totally different to this. And instead of looking for a buy here, I would continue looking for a sell. The reason being is because I don't use trend lines to identify areas to sell from or buy from. I don't look at trendline breaks as sure reversals in the trend, but I use these as a point of reading liquidity. So liquidity basically refers to orders in the market. And where there are orders in the market is usually going to push to collect those orders, okay, to continue adding more liquidity to the markets, adding bigger pressure on the buy side or sell side to the markets. So if we look at this trade right now, most people here will see a trendline break and start looking for buys. However, this actually doesn't tell us anything about the trend, and there is no reason why we should be buying here. The problem is, because most people see this as a trendline break, most people will be buying, which obviously means that there's going to be a lot of liquidity down in this point. Now, the market reaches for liquidity in many, many ways, and it usually will push for liquidity over support and resistance levels, trend lines, chart patterns, you name it. But what we're often going to see in a movement like this is, well, now that we've had all these buys, these to get now wiped out to the downside. So let's just have a quick talk about what this means for the market. Now, let's say you are buying this level. That means if your stop loss is hit, you have to sell back your bought contracts, okay? So that will add sells here. It's not just you doing this, but probably millions of traders. That means there are millions of sells waiting at this point. So if the market is to push down, we will see a massive influx of sells, which will then obviously drive the market down more, adding more sellers and more selling pressure to the market. So what this means is all we have to do really is get back down to this point, and then we're going to continue the downtrend. Now, why would this happen when the trend line is broken? Surely structure has broken now, right? What we want to do is forget trend lines in their traditional sense of marking structure and actually learn to mark the highs and the lows of the market. And that is the best way to determine market structure, whether you've got it accurate and whether you're actually looking at a true reversal point or just a pullback in the market. If we consider the actual movements in the market, right, the highs and the lows, we'll see that we actually haven't broken structure at all. So this would be point one. Then we have this lower low, then we have this lower high. Then we have a lower low, then we have a lower high. Then we have a lower low, and then we had this lower high just here. So we wouldn't actually be viewing a break of structure unless we saw a break over this level here. The reason being, the structure of the market, if we draw it on real quick, is still down. Okay, we have this zigzagging down movement, which has continued going down. And unless we actually manage to break over and push through some of these structure points here, breaking the horizontal structure levels as opposed to a imaginary line that we drew on the chart, there is no change in the character of the market. So we should just continue trading it with the current trend. So from here, we have two opportunities. Well, either first of all, we push up and break structure. This would then confirm buys, and maybe we could look for some buys from this point. Or if that doesn't happen, there's absolutely no reason for us to be buying here. Maybe the market will just continue to sell off. So basically what I'm telling you is if you are a trendline trader, your use of trend lines is probably holding you back. Now, I know you can succeed with trend lines, and I know some people do, but I also know many, many, many more fail to ever make it happen. I've taught a lot of students who came from trendline styles of trading and they're now trading successfully using other concepts and using this kind of concept where you view things from a horizontal structure point of view and also think about the liquidity and the reasons why the market is moving where it's moving. So here's how I would use this instead. What I would be looking for and what I would suggest you look for, and the best trendline strategy to adopt, is to work out what is a trendline showing you. Now, obviously, a trendline itself is not showing much, but we know that people buy and sell around these levels. So if we can consider that, okay, this trendline break looks like a great place for many traders to be buying the market, meaning there's going to be a lot of sell liquidity there. And also, we haven't even broken structure yet, so there's no real reason to buy. This tells us that there's basically going to be a whole heap of this liquidity waiting around this area. So we've got all these buys on now, and all market makers have to do is drive the market to this point, and then we'll have a huge influx of sellers to continue the downtrend. If we then consider the fact we haven't even broken bullish yet, we are still bearish, this would actually become a very good point to sell from. So what this would do, use that liquidity and use those concepts and totally go against the grain. Where other people are buying, we would be selling. And for example, let's just target a random level here. That will do. We can target this level, and now all we need to see is this area tapped to continue that downside. Now, as you can see, the trendline break actually happened to not be too significant, because when we actually tapped into this supply zone, I have more videos about those on my channel, and failed to break structure and formed that liquidity around the trend line, what did that do? Set us up with a trade in the opposite direction to most. So to sum this video up, the best trendline trading strategy is to not use a trendline in the traditional manner. Forget trying to sell retests or buy breakouts. These things rarely work. The real things you want to look for is the liquidity around the trendline. You have to consider, where are people looking for these retests? Where are people looking to buy from? Now, obviously, if we consider, we probably had sellers waiting at this level, selling that retest. They would have been taken out of the market, and then when it broke, they would be then looking for the buys. So they tried to sell the retest and failed. They tried to buy the breakout and failed. You need to consider, where are the masses doing this, and how can you actually use that to your advantage? If there's a small trendline break like this, consider, did the trend structure actually change, or are we still ready to sell? Okay, could this be a trap for liquidity? Trap those buyers in before selling off more? Or is it a true break, which would mean we would have to break some structure in terms of these horizontal levels before we can actually make a valid decision on that. So that was my video on the best trendline trading strategy. And if you are trading these basic retail patterns, it might have been a shock to the system. If you've learned a thing or two in this video, I'd highly suggest you head over to my free course. This breaks down all of these different concepts, why they don't work consistently, and how you can actually adopt a new perspective of the market. And if you want to learn everything, like I said at the start of the video, there is a discount on right now on my academy. You can do that also by heading over to the link in the description. So thank you for watching the video. I hope you found this beneficial. If you did, head over to my page. There's probably a few other videos there that you'll like as well. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.